who you are is not all the mess ups. It's part of your learning journey, but it's not you. Your mission and your dream should never be made to bow down to your limited strengths. When you desire to be a role model for others, it puts you into that pocket of service in life.
Need motivation?
Watch the top 10 of Believe Nation because I love it.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like 9 for my top 10, top 10, 9. This one's for my top 10.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because chances are you are the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more, and you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Brendon Burchard, and my take on his top 10 rules for success. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1. Do 1 more hour a day.
1 hour more per day on my core 3. Okay, I begin this every year. I go, okay, first move. I know I need to identify what are the core 3 things right now that have been bringing me results this year. The core 3 things. So as an example, because I'm an entrepreneur like many of you guys are, in my business I go, okay, what are the 3 primary revenue drivers we have right now? Because just like you, if you're in marketing, you probably tested a lot of things throughout the early part of the year, the spring, even an early part of the summer. So my question is, what's been working? And I mean absolutely working. What are the 3 absolute best things that are working for you? In your business, or your career, or your personal life if you're not employed or not self-employed. Like what's absolute, like the 3 things that are so working for you? I want you to know what those 3 things are. And overall, I want you to give an hour every day more to a focus of 1, 2, or 3, all 3 of those things. So let me give you an example. Right now, in my business, right, one of my core 3 is our book funnel. Like, so for me, as you guys know, as an author and a trainer, when I sell books, that's good for the business. We sell books, then people want online courses, then they want to come to our seminars, then someday they might join our program like we're doing here, our live events or our masterminds, or they might hire us for a coach, or they might hire me for speaking. But the book is a big core 3 for the business, right? And so right now I go, okay, I need every single day, the rest of this year, to give more time to that thing. Every day. Not on a Wednesday, not on a Saturday. Like every day, I need to check in the numbers, create a new ad, flip out a page. I need to lead my team better on it. Something every day for that one thing. Make sense? So if you got 3 things, what I want an hour more. So that might be in 20 minutes, and 20 minutes. So you're giving 20 minutes more each day, or maybe you just choose 1 and you're gonna give that an hour more a day. But it's basically this, 1 more work hour of the day focused on one of the core 3. Got it? Write it down. And this, for you, I want you to start this today. Today. If that means you're watching this in Munich, Germany, and we finish this tonight and you stay up 1 more hour, I'm like, cheers, man, do that. But it's like today, for those of you who are here in the US, in this time zone, I'm like, today, 1 more hour on focusing. I often call it the core 3 or the needle movers, the primary 3 things that are working. I need an hour more from you a day for the rest of the year. And you will thank me for the next decade. You'll be like, oh my God, Brendon. Because what happens is, and you know this, you're getting caught up in distraction. And so right now, people are lackadaisical and they're not focused on the right things. So I want you to think, where are you distracted? I want you to clear out the distractions. I want you to say, the core 3 things in my business are, and I need you to give an hour or more a day on those. That's it. If you'll start that now, and you'll punch in that hour more every day until Thanksgiving, I promise your Christmas will be unbelievable.
Rule number 2, adopt confidence.
Confidence is your belief in your ability to figure things out. Now, often you cheat yourself because you think, well, no, confidence is I've done everything I need to do in the world and I have all the successes and I'm on the cover of magazines and I'm rich. And we tell ourselves, I'll have confidence when. But if you're going to change your life, you need to right now adopt a more confident mindset and say, you know what? Confidence, I don't have to know everything in the world. I don't have to be the most successful person on the block. What I need to do is believe in myself and believe in my ability to figure things out. Give me enough time, energy, resources, mentorship, study. I can achieve my dreams. That's where it really begins. Belief in our ability to figure things out. Now, of course, at a deep psychological level, we know that confidence is all about your sense of worth, your sense of capability or ability to do things, and your belief also in not only yourself, but your future. And let me say those couple things to you. Worth, ability, future. If you don't believe you're worth anything, obviously your confidence is there. If you don't believe you're able to go do anything, obviously your confidence is there. Psychologists often call this self-efficacy, right? You just don't feel like you can, be efficacious or be a person who gets things done in the world because you don't believe in your ability. And last, confidence has a lot to do with your perception of where you'll be in the future. If you think you're gonna be broke and a loser in the future, obviously you're not gonna go for it today, right? If you see yourself as lonely and an outcast in the future, you're obviously not gonna walk up to her or him and say, hey, how you doing?
Rule number 3, develop critical skills.
In my industry, as I came in the thought leader industry, we call it, which is, author, speaker, coach, seminar leader, life coach, business coach, or online trainer or online thought leader, social media thought leader. In that culture, which we just call the thought leader industry, when I came into it, everything was outsourcing. Everyone says outsource, outsource, outsource. Don't need to do video, outsource it. Don't need to do audio, outsource it. Don't need to learn how to manage your stage career, outsource it. Everybody said outsource everything, but I was like, you know what? That's just not true. In every given career, there is a set of skills that you have to master and develop into if you're going to become excellent at what you do. If you're going to become the highest paid in your company, or highest paid in your industry, or highest paid in your field, you have to dial it in and understand, what are the skills I'm working on? You hear me say this before at High Performance Academy. Like, if I parachuted into your house right now, or onto your roof, and then climbed down and got into your house. If I came into your house and I actually looked at your calendar, we opened up your laptop, we looked at your calendar, could I see in your calendar over the next couple months, clear block time that you've designated towards developing the skills that are necessary for you to win? Like, is it in your calendar, or are you just gonna outsource it? And you really have to know what those skills are. For what I was doing, people told me at the very beginning of my career, Brendon, you don't need to learn video. Why would you learn video? Just hire a videographer or a filmmaker right off the bat. And I said, well, one, I just started my career. I'm what you call broke. I don't have the ability to just go hire people. I know some of you guys are watching this and you're like, I don't have the ability to hire 10, 15, 20 people, but everyone tells me just go hire people. Sometimes you need to develop the skills to do everything in your business until you get the amount of revenue where you can hire somebody and maintain their monthly retainer or maintain their salary. And that was true for me. When I first began, people were like, just outsource, get a videographer. I was like, I don't have the money for that. So I went out and I bought a cheap, what do they call those things? Flip video camera. Do you remember those? It was a little flip video camera, and I set it up in boxes in my girlfriend's apartment. And I took the little flip video camera, and I didn't know how to use it, so I had to teach myself how to use it. And then I went around, I tied it to the box with duct tape around this box, and I put little notes next to it. And I would have to get up and go press the record button, come back, and like, hi, I'm Brendon Burchard. And I was like freaked out. I didn't even know how to do what I was doing. But I learned how to take that video out. I learned how to upload it. I learned how to edit it. I learned how to put in sound and music and graphics and all these things that took forever back then, and I had no idea to do it. So I would be up 2, 3, 4 in the morning teaching myself how to do it. People also said, well, Brendon, just hire a marketing manager to send your emails out and build your newsletter list. I was like, I don't have any money to do that. Brendon, hire somebody to do your online marketing. I was like, I don't know, I don't have any money to do that. But here's the other side of it. it wasn't that I didn't have the money to do it. I also had the foresight to realize these were going to be critical skills to my future. What are the critical skills that will be necessary for your future? You have to figure that out. I didn't outsource marketing because if I don't learn marketing, see, marketing is always going to be a piece of my future, isn't it? So I said, I had better learn to master marketing. It's always going to be something I have to do in my career. What's the skill that you're always going to have to know and do? And I want you to dive deep in it. I want you to dork out in it. I want you to get excited about it. I would spend hours and hours and hours researching things, trying things, learning about things that I had no skill in. Because we live in a world that's telling this huge lie. And this lie is, hey, you know what? Just follow your passions. Just do what you're naturally good at. Just follow your strengths. And I'm like, well, sometimes your strengths are insufficient to build the business you need to build. Sometimes what you're naturally good at, just because you're good at it and you like it and you have passion for it, isn't what's required to actually build and sell and do. I'm not saying don't follow your strengths. I'm saying don't rely on your strengths. You know, the truth is your mission and your dream should never be made to bow down to your limited strengths.
Rule number 4, create joy.
You want to know how you become unstoppable? You learn that the energy you have is not an accident. And you learn that the energy you have isn't even the way it works. I always use this metaphor. The power plant doesn't have energy. It generates energy. The power plant doesn't have energy. It generates energy. What does that mean? Well, what a power plant does is it draws energy from one resource and it transforms it to a higher utilization of energy and then transmits it to the world. You have that same opportunity. You don't have to wait for happiness to arrive one day. You don't have to wait for good energy to arrive one day. You can architect that into your mind and into your body. You don't have to hope one day to feel more joyous. You learn to bring the joy. You bring the joy. You bring the joy to the morning light. You bring the joy to your family. You bring the joy to the dinner table. You bring the joy to that team who sometimes, and you show up with a positive mindset every day and they're like, who is this person? And you know what? When they call you annoying or they call you inauthentic or they call you too happy or a stupid optimist or whatever, you take the joy that you're part of a rare set of human beings who would spend their day like this, working on ourselves and growing, because you know what? You want to get believers in your life, get some momentum with a good attitude. And all of a sudden they start coming around when they're like, oh, wow, you're different. And you're like, yes, I am, because you worked for it, because you knew life was short. You knew it was short. And you decided at some point in your life, hey, there's only so much time. Let me show up with greater intention. Let me deal with these struggles just head on. You can do this courageously, and you decide to bring the joy because life is short. And like me, I hope you want to earn this life.
My friend Evan Carmichael's book, listen, humans are built to serve. Some people are built to serve the world. Others want to serve the 25 people closest to them. But in either case, humans are built to serve. So if you're not happy right now, it's because you're not serving enough. You got to pick up this book because it's so inspiring to remind you that we're all here to contribute, to make a difference, to make an impact, and this is your field guide for that.
Rule number 5, let go of the screw-ups.
You have to have a process every single week where you let go of the screw-ups of the week. See, what most people do is they just carry the screw-ups, hate myself, failure, screw up, label, screw up, label, screw up, label, screw up, label, and all the mess ups of their life, they start defining as themselves. And the mistake you made weeks ago, you labeled it as part of your identity versus a behavioral mistake, right? Behaviors change every day. Your behaviors today are different than they were yesterday. Like behaviors are very adaptive and reactionary type of thing. You'll get some behaviors wrong, some behaviors right. But what most people do is they get the wrong behavior and they pull that wrong behavior and they pull it into an identity. Mess up, they grab the mess up and they make it their mindset. No, the mess up was a behavioral problem. It is an identity problem. And so they take the mess up, the problem, and they make it the personhood. And that's what we call making mountains out of molehills. Like, so what? You got the project in late. Does that mean you're a complete failure? No, it means you got the project in late, dude. Next time, plan better. Jesus, right? It's like we take the little things and we blow it up into who we are. Who you are is not all the mess ups. It's part of your learning journey, but it's not you. And so you got to know, like, there's a difference here. And sometimes baggage is recognizing, oh, that was an awkward, weird, uncomfortable, harmful situation, but that's not me. That was a situation. It was a behavior. It was something that happened, an occasion. And then we can go, okay, if that's true, then who am I really? Who do I want to be? Who am I now at this age of my life without those old stories? And you got to give yourself that distinction. But here's the thing. I told you, you need a reminder. It needs to be a rhythm for you. It's part of my Sunday rhythm. Some of you guys know I do my Sunday review. And when I do my Sunday review, I literally go, okay, where could I have shown up better this last week? Where could I have behaved better this last week? What could I have done better this last week? And I just reflect on previous week and I identify the things that didn't go the way I wanted to. And I ask, okay, what could I have done? And then I do the most simple and basic thing that you could do on a Sunday. I forgive myself and I let it go.
Rule number 6, be healthy.
A healthy response is health. People ask me often, well, how do I deal with this well? I go, be healthy. And what I mean by that is specifically when you know you're disappointed, when you know you're sad, when you know you've got major setbacks, you have to delay the response to order 10 gallons of pad thai. Okay? You just have to. You cannot be like, you know what? I feel terrible, so bust out the 3 bottles of wine, here we go. You have to delay the response that is unhealthy. Does that make sense? It's super easy. I mean, it's crazy easy to, when you are having a down day or you're feeling disappointed, to go, oh my gosh, and go wreck yourself and get exhausted. So what happens? You're disappointed or you have a major setback. You know what you want to do? Sometimes your response, high performers, is overwork. You're sad, so what do? You overwork. Or there's a major setback. So now I'm going to work 24/7 for 9 months. And you basically kind of kill yourself working. And so in that way you say, but I'm getting ahead. No, actually all of productivity science and all of well-being science proves over and over and over again, you compromising your sleep and overworking yourself is actually making your decisions be poorer. It's making your reactions to other people be less sensitive, less helpful. You're worse at negotiating. You're worse at closing sales. You're worse at effectiveness in your own time of doing basic tasks. You're worse at everything that has to do with leadership and progress and human relationships, you're worse at when you cope by overworking. But that's what we do. I'm disappointed, so I'm going to work harder. I'm mad, so I'm going to work harder. The business isn't doing well, so I'm going to work harder. But if you overwork yourself, that is not a healthy response.
Rule number 7, get clarity first.
The first thing I want you to figure out is what is the business or the brand or the company you're really trying to build over the long term. And I know that sounds like, yeah, no doubt, Brendon, common sense. But many of you, you're entrepreneurs, you're stay-at-home, you're maybe a stay-at-home mom and you're working on building that side brand or that side hustle. You're out in the marketplace and maybe you're already doing something where you're kind of fully committed to it, but kind of not because you've got this other safe job over here. Maybe you're somebody who just started and you're not even sure what you're supposed to be doing yet. The wrong time to hire is when you don't know what you're supposed to be doing yet. You don't know the business model and you don't know where you want to be in 3, 4, 5 years. It's really important for you to get clarity before you hire. And I know that's so common sense, but it's not common practice. And a lot of people hire too soon. And then what happens is because they didn't know the business model or they didn't know what they really wanted, they got in a place where they had a lot of team or that first virtual employee, that first assistant, and they were all kind of running around like, what do we do? What are we here for? and you didn't even have clarity on your purpose or your mission or your ambition for the business, and that's not where you want to be. Because I think the most important thing is when you're going to hire and build a high-performing team is that you have commitment for your future. You have clarity. When you are hiring, you're not hiring because you have a side hustle. You're not hiring because you have a hobby. You're hiring because you have a clear mission. And your commitment to that is everything, because you're going to ask people to come on your team who they're committing their life, they're committing their day, they're committing their mortgage payment, their rent payment to you. There's a responsibility in you hiring that you got to know what you're hiring for. And that is so critical. I see people do that all wrong all the time. Friends in Silicon Valley, they get a bunch of investment, they hire 10 people. They don't know what those 10 people are going to do. They didn't know the business model. They ran out of revenue, and they had those people on for a year or two, and then they ran out of cash and had to let them go. I don't want you to be in that position. So the right time to hire is always when first you've defined that mission, that goal, that business, that dream for that 3-5 year out plan. And then you know that you're fully committed and you're going to work it. And then you also really take joy in leading and managing people. Because the truth is you can outsource a lot of things and not have to deal with it. Or you say, listen, I'm going to make sure when I hire well.
Rule number 8, prioritize growth.
I look at everything I'm doing right now, everything for my business right now. And I go, okay, of all these things I'm doing, which ones will lead to significant growth this year? Which ones will lead to significant growth this year? Everything else I start pushing out on the calendar. Whether I push it out 2, 3, 4 months from now, or I push it till next year. But I do a real close look at all of my activities. I look at my partnerships, my relationships. I look at everything I'm doing in terms of marketing funnels or brand building or what I'm doing in the marketplace or what I'm doing in my career. And I go, which ones of these things are leading to significant growth? And if it's not leading to significant growth, I need to minimize that time. Now, I know you might say, well, what's the difference between like a core 3 and a significant growth rule? Well, the significant growth rule is for the rest of the year, right? The core 3, you already know. The core 3 are the 3 things you're already doing to getting results. The significant growth rule is all these new ideas people are going to give you and put on your plate in August and September and October, November. Everyone's going to give you some more things to do, right? There's going to be new opportunities. And every new opportunity or every new idea, your thing has to be at this time of year. Will that lead to significant growth this year? If it is, maybe you can add that on to your workload. Because remember, I'm just asking for an hour here. Maybe you can add that on. But if a project comes your way and it doesn't lead to significant growth at this stage of the year, and it won't lead to significant growth the rest of this year, I'm out. I'm out. So I turned down 2 or 3 projects just last night from people. Good ideas, great ideas. But I know those won't lead to significant growth until next year. So I'm like, not till next year. Because I know that instead, if I focus on these things, the core 3, or other projects that I do know lead to significant growth, in other words, significant growth is a way for you to prioritize and say no. I don't want you taking on any new projects at this stage of the year if you don't believe they'll lead to real growth by the end of the year, because you could just focus on these more, right? It's that old story of Acres of the Diamonds. You know, people travel all around the world looking for the treasure and working so hard looking for the new thing, and then they come home and one day they put the spade in the backyard and they dig up some diamonds, right? Often, your next big breakthrough, it's already in your yard. You know, what I tell people all the time, you've probably already met the person who's going to help you generate your next $100,000, your next $1 million. Like you already met, they're already in your network. But you're spending all this time to go do all these other things. You already met the person who's going to make you your next $1 million, or give you access to an audience, or give you access to an opportunity. You've already met the person, but you're out there searching for new. And you're accepting all these new ideas. And as you accept new ideas as a high performer, what does that do? That crowds out other things. And so from this day forward until the end of the year, I want you to have the significant growth rule. Will this project lead to significant growth by the end of the year? If not, table it.
Rule number 9, adopt a role model mindset.
If you want to feel in purpose, one way to do that is to recognize the kids are watching, to recognize your family is watching, to recognize the community is watching, the neighborhood is watching, the world is watching us right now. History is taking note. There is a scorecard happening right now based on how we are all showing up. And for some people that terrifies them because like, oh my gosh, we're showing up terribly. Not me. How about you? How are you showing up? One of the greatest things I've ever noticed from the exceptional people I work with and coach. I mean, like this is like amazing people. If I'm training an Oprah Winfrey and her team, or I am talking to some of the most like powerful influencers in the world, or I'm talking with other people who are just like we're all amazed by. Guess what? They always reveal a desire to be a role model for others. When you desire to be a role model for others, it puts you into that pocket of service in life. It makes you go, oh my gosh, I want to not just live the best of who I am, that's part of being a role model, but I want to live the best of who I am because I want to give others permission to do that themselves. I want to share my authentic voice so others can share their authentic voice. I want people to see me volunteering because I want people to go volunteer. I want people to see me being kind because I want people to be and live in a kind world. That is the role model mindset, And I so hope for you. I so hope for you that you will adopt the role model mindset this year.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is create fun.
You don't, quote unquote, just have fun. You have to generate fun. As you've heard me say over and over and over before, the power plant doesn't have energy. It transforms and generates energy. If you want more fun in your life, you're gonna have to generate more fun. You're gonna have to have more of attention and intention to create fun and silly and ridiculous and humorous and just joyous moments. So what are some ways you can do that? Well, first and foremost, realize most great fun in life comes from an immersion in the moment. It requires presence, It's like so many people their attention is a million different places. But have you ever been at a restaurant and you got your 4 or 5 friends around and you all are just riffing, like you're just having fun, you're all kicking around ideas and telling funny stories and the phones are off, it's just the 4 or 5 of you gathered around, or maybe the 2 or 3 of you just gathered around telling stories, and you're all immersed in that moment. In immersion, joy arises. In immersion, humor can perpetuate. In immersion in the moment, in presence of the now, you have access to a greater level of energy and awareness all around you that now you can really transform into fun. So you have to begin by having an intention each day to say, I'm gonna be present in my moments today. I'm gonna be present in everything that I do. Present in my conversations with people, present in the tasks that I do, because in that presence, more passion can come to a light and more fun can be had. It begins with having intention to immerse.
Now I've got a special bonus clip that I think you're gonna enjoy, but before that, it's time for the question of the day. I wanna know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video, and what is your plan of action for the next week? The science says that when you just watch a video, you get motivated, you get inspired, you have a 35% chance of actually doing something and following through. That, Believe Nation, is not enough. 35% is not enough. We gotta do something. But when you get inspired by watching a video like this, and then you create a plan of action, your chances of following through jump to 91%. And when you commit publicly, like putting your comment down below with your plan, it jumps to 95%. That's what I want for you. I want you to take action. Your dreams are too important. Your life matters. Your mission has to happen. So, question of the day, your biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week, put it down in the comments below, and I'm gonna celebrate alongside with you.
Your daily G3 journal and review. If you've heard me teach a lot about downtimes before, especially in the last couple years ago, the G3 was the 3 Gs. And what it means is every single day, I want you to journal on these 3 things. And I do mean journal, meaning you write it down in the morning and you review it at night. So that's why it says journal and review. So you write in the morning and review it all at night. And so here's what the G3 is. The first thing you know is your gratitude. And that is just What are you grateful for? Why does that make you feel good? Why are you thankful for it? And just write it down in your journal. Just a whole, like, you should have a gratitude journal already, but when you're disappointed or having setbacks, I want you to do the gratitude in the morning. A lot of gratitude journal stuff is at the night. I want you to move it right up in the morning. Like, just, you got to prime your morning for some goodness. So right off the bat, you got to do that, okay? So gratitude. Second major thing I want you to focus on is your goals. What are the specific daily and weekly goals you're working on? You got to get really narrow focused, right? When you're disappointed or sad or setback, the idea of creating a vision board and seeing out 10 years from now, that's too much. What you need to do is get really close in near term. This day's goals, this week's goals. Because if you can check those suckers off and get a little progress in, you'll feel differently, as we talk about. So goals is important. And the third G is goodness. And the goodness is noticing what is good from the previous day. So when you start the day, you're like, okay, what am I grateful for in general, for life? What are my goals specifically daily and weekly in each of these different areas of my life? You might have goals in your career, in your health, in your finances, in your relationships. And then the goodness is, what actually good did happen yesterday? And that will just get you in a place where you're like, oh, this day is going to be good too. It's making you more mindful to all the good things. And the reason I do that one last, and the difference between gratitude is general things you're grateful for. The goodness thing is to think about what good happened yesterday. And the reason we do that, because in neuroscience, we know that thinking about the goodness from yesterday is triggering your hippocampus to kind of turn on and fire up. And if we get more memory activation off the bat in the morning, we actually have more creativity in the day too. It's weird. Sparking memory is good for creativity. Creativity is very good for coping. And so that's why I'm trying to get you to reflect a little bit on something that happened yesterday, just to think through, find that mindful moment. And it's also teaching you to be more mindful of the moments each day, not just grateful in general, but actually being mindful for the good moments each day. So I want you to do that journal every morning, and then every night, I want you to look back at it and think about it and maybe repeat it if you want to. I just want you to review the day and review those things.
If you want 10 more amazing rules from Brendon Burchard, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
There's no greater way to gut check your self-perception than the degree in which you have leadership in your life. Are you being a role model and a leader for other people?